So, right, let's play. So, how long in minutes to make a cup of tea? So write it down on a post-it note or think it to yourself. How long do you think it's going to take to make a cup of tea? So, and then when you've got your answer, hopefully you have, then I'm going to reveal a set of answers. So here we go. More seconds just for those of you who might not quite have decided on, you can press pause if you need to. So I'm going to show you my post-it note that I wrote down. So that's got 15 on it. And you can see from the other post-it notes on this. So usually I play this as part of the training sessions, live training sessions. So you can see that everybody's put a variety of different numbers on there. So we've got 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 6, 2, 8, 2, 5, 1, and 15. So that 15 down there is mine. So we've got our estimate. So maybe yours matches one of these or maybe it doesn't. And that's okay. This is, I've played this game lots and lots of times. And so this is a bit of an example, if you like, of the answers that I usually get when I'm playing this game. So right now I'm going to ask you the next question, or I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So where were you when you were making your cup of tea? So when I asked you to estimate, you probably would have gone off somewhere in your mind to where you generally make a cup of tea. So where were you? Were you at home? Were you at the office? So let's have a look. So the majority of people there are home and a couple of people at the office. Now it was really interesting. Obviously during pandemic, people tended to answer home, and it did get questioned about that. Well, obviously, you know, we're all working from home, but actually pre-pandemic, when I was running this at conferences and in organizations and training sessions around the world, that actually we still all answered home. So even if we were actually in the office of that team, they would tend to still say home, which was really interesting. So where were you? You were probably home, but perhaps you were in the office, or perhaps you were somewhere else. Who were you making it for? So who were you making that cup of tea for? Were you making it for yourself or for somebody else? So here we've got most people again tend to default to I was making it for myself. Some people, so you've got somebody in the top right there has made it for the team, somebody else made it for their partner, and often there's a partner because I don't drink tea, so I wasn't making it for myself. I don't drink it. I'm going to reveal my answers at the end, by the way, just to let you know. And then finally, what did you make? So did you make tea? So just think about what you actually made. And again, looking at those answers, so we've got the majority of people made tea or green tea or tea with an instant boiled tap. I think that's one of those 1 minute estimations. Tea and coffee. And there's a coffee here or on a pot of tea as well. So interestingly, there's a cup of coffee there. Now, I often point out that if we were actually estimating a customer's task, if I was a customer and you were the team estimating how long to do this task for me, you've actually kind of, you know, I've asked for a website, you've built me an app. So you've given me something totally different to what I actually asked for. So your estimate therefore is kind of potentially off because you haven't actually estimated what I've asked. Now, so let's just review those. So we were talking about where were you? So most people default to home. Who are you making it for? Most people default to myself. And what did you make? Most people make tea, but somebody occasionally will follow their own preference and make coffee or hot chocolate or water or whatever it might be instead. So think about what assumptions have you made? Now, based on the numbers that generally come out of these workshops, I tend to assume that most of the group assume that they have access to water, a kettle, electric, there are tea bags, milk, sugar, coffee even available on tap, and that they are just literally making that cup of tea. So that we've all made that assumption about, you know, we've got the necessary tools and environment around us to get that job done. So that's okay, but it is an assumption that we've all made. So when we kind of look at comparing those, it's quite interesting to see that there is some really common trends and themes, but also there's some real key differences as well. So this is a really great game to play if you're working as a team and you're looking to estimate things. Is if you play this game, then you'll get a sense of what everybody's estimates are blindly, so we're not influenced by each other. And then also you'll be able to open up that conversation, and that's the real kind of magic of the game, is being able to open up that conversation so we understand better what is it. So if at the beginning of this game you're kind of like, oh, I don't have enough information to estimate this, then actually I would have given you a gold star, because what that was, it was exactly what you should have done, because we did need more information to make an accurate estimation. And you can notice that mine was quite high at 15. So this is my reply. So it was 15 minutes. Where are we? We're here and now. So remembering that usually I run this exercise when I'm actually running a live session with a team. It's usually just about before the first break. And so what I'm actually asking everybody is to estimate how long to make a cup of tea, but actually I'm asking everybody here, how long would you like for a break? You know, so I'm thinking during your break, you probably want to make a quick cup of tea and probably drink it and then come back. So I've estimated 15 minutes. What do you guys think? And of course, this generates a few laughs and a few conversations. And I do send people off on their break and kind of say, oh, okay, so you've got 1 minute, you've got 2 minutes, and we have a bit of a giggle. But generally, I do let everybody have 15 minutes, so we've got time to make and drink our cup of tea or coffee or green tea or whatever it might be that you like, or whatever you want to do with that 15 minutes. And often people come back having timed how long it actually took them as well, so it's great. So we can just as a kind of another pause for thought, really, is this kind of sense that our accuracy of estimation, even when we're down there and close to agreement, close to certainty. So something quite straightforward and simple, like making a cup of tea, that most of us, I mean, it depends where in the world you are, because there are different drinks of choice. And so, you know, even if you use that, you know, whatever the drink of choice is, if it is coffee, if we use that in the same way, we will get the same response. But we will talk about this kind of, this is quite a simple, straightforward task, and you would expect it to be fairly straightforward to estimate, therefore, and that we would probably be all in agreement. But actually we had a variation there of 1 to 15. So 1 to 15 minutes, not such a big deal. 1 to 15 hours, that's 1 hour, 2 days, or 1 week to 15 weeks, you know, so that's quite a variation. So if we can be so varied as this, when we're just estimating something as simple as making a cup of tea, then when we're estimating the tasks in our projects that are often complex and sometimes dynamic, but very often complicated, that, you know, we need to think about how accurate our estimation might be. And that's really one of the powers of the sprint, is that every sprint we can reflect and go, okay, we underestimated that, or we overestimated that, and we can adjust our estimates accordingly to suit that, so that we can really start to build that pattern and that understanding of our rhythm, of our capacity, of how much we can get done, how long things will take, and learn that if we do classify something as complex or chaotic, that when we estimate it, we might have to double or even triple that to get a better idea of what it might actually take versus what the time would take if it was down there in simple. And again, those conversations that we open up to understand what is actually the task in hand to be done, what resources, environment have we got around us, what support have we got to get this job done, so that we can more accurately estimate it. So I hope you've enjoyed that exercise. It got you thinking a little bit, and one hopefully you can take away as well and use as a bit of an icebreaker with your teams if you're doing estimation.